welcome to Sunday Dusk. And here's your host, Corvus Twig.
Yay! I forgot to unmute desktop audio. That happens. Yay! Welcome everybody to another episode of Sunday Dusk. Yeah, it's been a few weeks. Stuff has come up. Summer's a busy time, folks. We're out of town sometimes. We had, a couple weeks ago, I had my big brouhaha improv show that I did. That was a big show. The thing I do is the improv show I host in real life at a brewery. It's good times. It's just, summer's crazy busy, folks, but we're here. We're back, and have we got a great show for you tonight? We got an amazing show tonight. The best show. We got a great guest. I have a feeling that a lot of you who are in the chat, like that one comic guy, thanks for the follow. You're here for my guest. You know who it is. I'm not gonna say her name yet. Oh no. But yeah, it's been a great time. We've been enjoying the summer festivities. Getting out to cabins and going out to it's a Friday night. I went to the zoo and it was kind of cool because they closed the zoo down at 5:00, but then you could buy special tickets. But in order to buy this ticket, you had to be 21 years of age or older. So we got to go to the zoo and there were no kids at the zoo. Oh my god, it was so great. You walk around and have a beer and look at the animals, and there's no kids around, and it's amazing because it's quieter and people are just it's just a good vibe. And we went into the Tropics building, which is kind of where their aviary is, and they had a hornbill there, big rhinoceros hornbill. So beautiful. And then part of it, the birds are just kind of free to roam around in an area. You have to go through a door thing that birds don't go through. But just sitting right on top of where I was, there was a Victoria crowned pigeon, and it was right there, a couple feet away from me, and it's just looking down at me who's this crow? Why is there a crow in here? We're not used to having crows in this aviary. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Victoria Crown Pigeon. I'm usually bigger than pigeons, but you're way bigger than me. And it was so pretty. And there was, they had seriously a dozen different species of pigeon and dove in there. These cute little guys. So many cool animals. And there were flamingos and ducks and the wild, and the place was filled with this wild and exotic bird species called the house sparrow. They were everywhere in there. Yeah, a bird went to see other birds. Come on, there were plenty of mammals there, and the mammals were looking at other mammals, so I don't see why that's so weird. I saw all these humans looking at other primates and bears and tigers, so, a crow looking at other species of bird is no weirder than a human looking at other mammals. Come on, folks, come on. It's interesting to see other species around. Dusk had some cool aquariums. Don't get too excited. Choco! Hi, Choco! Welcome! And, Jupicky? I think that's... Or Jafiki? I don't know. But anyway, welcome. We're happy to have all y'all here today. Coffee? No coffee today, Hasio. It's just too close to bedtime. We can't be having coffee this late at night and never get to sleep. This bird's got a job. Gotta get up tomorrow morning. I don't want to get up tomorrow morning. None of us do. Even summertime, you still gotta work. But, it's fine. It's fine. I'm having a good summer. I hope you're all having a good summer. We're gonna be doing lots of fun stuff. I'm actually thinking next week, I do not have a guest lined up next week, but I might do a little Sunday Dusk karaoke. So that might be kind of fun. I've been thinking of maybe doing that. And of course, we also have some more upcoming episodes of Twig's Missing Movies. If you check out the other episodes of Twig's Missing Movies on YouTube, our newest episode was Mars Attacks with Uski, and Mars Attacks was great. I can't believe I didn't see that movie before. And I love this. I love that show because I get to watch so many movies I've never seen before. But yeah, if you're a movie buff, check it out because it's it's a really fun show. Each episode's only about an hour long, so, nice, good, simple, watchable VODs. You don't need to... It's not like watching a live stream of somebody play a game. You don't need to be there live. Just watch it. Think of it like a podcast or something. Podcast with video. It's great. Check it out. But yeah, I guess now it is time for us to get to the news. So let me get down here and bring up the PowerPoint. We got some news. We got some wonderful news. And today is a story about an animal being saved. An animal that was in a very precarious situation. And let's see a picture of this animal. Oh, there he is. There he is. So, this happened in Pueblo, Colorado. And this happened at a Red Lobster. This little guy, who has now been nicknamed Orange Crush, is a very rare orange lobster. He has a genetic condition that causes his keratin to be bright orange rather than the reds or browns that you see on a normal lobster. It's a very rare coloration for it, and this lobster was delivered to a Red Lobster in a tank, and it was in one of those live tanks, and the customer's like, well, look at that orange one, that's so cool. And the thing is if this had been sent to a Red Lobster in another state, it might not have turned out good for him. But this orange was the color orange of the Denver Broncos. And turns out the franchise owner of that Red Lobster was a huge Denver Broncos fan. So they pulled him out of that tank for being eaten. And now Orange Crush is a resident of the Denver Aquarium. So this little guy, instead of being on somebody's plate, now gets to live out the rest of his life in luxury in an aquarium. Much better outcome for them. So yeah, it's really kind of cool because, it's pretty rare to see an orange one. But occasionally there are blue lobsters and yellow lobsters. And I guess maybe because at the restaurant they're like, well, this is a Red Lobster. We can't have lobsters of other colors. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So good old Crush gets to not get thrown into a boiling pot of water and consumed. So lucky you for having that coloration. I mean, look at that little guy. He's kind of cute in his own way, I suppose. Oh, red, blue down the middle, the male and female at the same time. That's interesting. But it's not a rock lobster. It's not B-52s. But I love Rock Lobster. It's a great song, fun song. Yeah, there we go. So I'd like to thank my source, a article entitled "Meet Crush, the Rare Orange Lobster Diverted from Dinner Plate to Aquarium by Denver Broncos Fans." Written by Amy Beth Hansen of the Associated Press. So, thank you. Now, this next story comes from Brazil and is also animal related. Now, you ever heard of the movie based off of a true story, Cocaine Bear? Oh yeah, we've heard of Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear is scary. Made a movie on it, starring esteemed character actress Margot Martindale. Great little movie. But turns out that story was based off of a true life event of a bear that actually got cocaine. But folks, it happened again. But this time, it was not a bear. No. In fact, it was an entire population of animals. And that animals were sharks. Now here is a movie poster for a movie called Cocaine Shark, which is the spiritual sequel to Cocaine Bear. But turns out the sharks in the water off of the coast of Brazil have tested positive for cocaine. So turns out that smugglers, if they feel they're going to get caught, might abandon their load into the water. And unfortunately, a lot of cocaine gets dumped into the oceans around Rio. And now they have found that the sharks have, measurable traces of cocaine in their bloods. In particular, it was the wild Brazilian sharp-nosed shark that were brought aboard on small fishing vessels. And they used a they tested it, and they found that they had a concentration 100 times higher than had previously been found in marine life in the area. And it's the first time a study has found the presence of cocaine in wild sharks like this. And they actually found that there was more of it prevalent in the muscle tissue than in the liver, which seems kind of unusual. But they're not really sure at this point how it has affected the sharks, if it has made them more aggressive, if it's, obviously there's going to be some kind of effect in there. It is not a good effect. We shouldn't be giving cocaine to animals. We really probably shouldn't be giving it to ourselves either. Cocaine's a nasty drug. It's a nasty drug. Come on, stick to weed and mushrooms. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. But yeah, this is only a initial finding, and we're not really sure how it's going to affect them. Now, is it going to turn these sharks into murderous rampage Jaws-like animals? Probably not. Cocaine Shark, the movie, and Cocaine Bear, the movie, are dramatizations of, real life events that is not quite how it works. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's probably a bad thing, but to turn into loan sharks, I don't think they're going to turn that evil. They're definitely not gonna turn that evil. But yeah, interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of follow up the scientists are able to do. But until then, can we just stop throwing garbage into the ocean, whether it's drugs or anything else? Can we keep the oceans clean? They're kind of important. Anyway, I want to thank Dylan Donnelly of Sky News for the article, Sharks off Brazil coast test positive for cocaine. Wow. So, my next story comes from the city of Colombia, not the, doesn't say what state, but maybe it was Colombia. It says her home in Colombia. Okay, maybe it's but anyway, Amazon delivery. You ever ordered something off of Amazon and comes in and you open the box and turns out that the item you ordered is not the item in the box? Well, this happened to a woman named Sofia Serrano in Colombia, and she had ordered an air fryer. And she opened the box and there was not an air fryer inside that box. Now, there's a lizard. There was a lizard. So, yeah. So the air fryer was ordered off of Amazon.com, and she opens the box and there's a lizard in there, and the lizard miraculously survived and was okay. Amazon basically apologized for it, gave a refund, and sent the actual item. But what do you do with a lizard? Well, she called the local animal control, and they were able to take it away and put it, somewhere hopefully safe, but probably has to go to some sort of zoo or something, because obviously you don't want to be releasing foreign fauna into the ecosystem. There's not a lot of details in the article about what happened to the little guy, but God, could you imagine? You open up a box thinking there's going to be an air fryer inside, and instead there's this guy looking at you. And that's kind of a scary looking lizard. I mean, that's not like a leopard gecko, who are like the cutest little guys in the world. This guy's kind of terrifying. I would not want to encounter this guy. Fortunately, he seemed to be okay, and nobody was injured. But yeah, you just really gotta wonder, how the heck does this happen? Imagine trying to go through AI support attempting to explain this problem. Yeah, don't think the AI is properly trained on that. God, I hate those AI chatbots. Hate them. But, well, that happened. And I want to thank Susie Beaver of the Mirror, mirror.co.uk specifically is where I found it, for the article, Woman Orders Air Fryer from Amazon, but receives lizard in a box instead. Now, this next one is only tangentially related to animals, but it comes from the land of Ohio. I know Bentai's already familiar with this story, but this is actually about a recent court case and a decision that the High Court in the Ohio Supreme Court has made a decision. And their decision recently is that apparently boneless wings can contain bones. That's right, for there was a man named Michael Birkenheimer who was dining with his wife and some friends at a wing joint and ordered boneless wings. You know, just a nice little order of boneless wings. And when he bit into it, it turns out that there was a piece of bone inside the boneless wing. And this bone got lodged in his esophagus, cut his esophagus, caused a infection, and required, medical intervention and some serious medical bills. So, of course, he sued the restaurant because, you order something called boneless wings, you're going to expect that those wings are going to not include bones. It's kind of in the name. Boneless wings. I mean, it's like, if I order like gluten-free something, you order gluten-free bread, you expect there to not be, gluten in the bread. That's kind of a thing. But they took it to court. And initially, he won his case. But of course, the business appealed. Because business is going to do that. They have the money. They have the lawyers. They took it up. Got to the Ohio Supreme Court. And in a 4-3 ruling, the Supreme Court ruled that boneless wings refers to a cooking style and that he should have been on guard against bones since it's common knowledge that chickens have bones. And, having boneless wings on there because it's chicken. They're like, well, chicken has bones, and so the boneless wings don't need it. Boneless is how they're cooked, not necessary description of it. The dissenting judges used the words utter jabberwocky, saying that a jury should have been allowed to decide if the restaurant was negligent, and unfortunately, the 4 conservative judges all decided that no, businesses don't need to, stick to things like descriptions of the name of the product. And yeah, it turns out now in Ohio, at least, boneless wings can have bones. I mean, come on, sensible person is going to, use. The court absolutely got it wrong. This was definitely a case where the judges are just trying to be pro-business and anti-consumer because we can't hurt businesses. Classic Ohio. Absolutely. It's just ridiculous. So I guess now whenever you order boneless wings, especially if you're in Ohio, you pull them apart and inspect for bones or, be careful while you're chewing them. But yeah, the company's always right. It's ridiculous. And yeah, it seems like, well, I was going to say only Ohio, but I could definitely see this being a ruling in Texas and Florida as well. Pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. That is for sure. Absolute insanity. Always look for bones. Yeah. Easiest ways to avoid Ohio. I mean, I'm not against that policy either. Freaking Ohio. But yeah, one of the things that one of the judges said is that if somebody ordered chicken fingers, they would know that they're not actually being served fingers. It's like, come on, that's different. This is different. Well, that's Ohio for you. That's the United States for you. Boneless wings can have bones. I guess, gluten-free bread can have gluten. I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now. The examples. There's a million jokes we could make about this. But that's all for the news. Thanks for listening. Now I'm going to hop behind the desk. Whoa, I hop fast. Okay. Well, that's enough for news-related stuff. But now, can't wait for the fish fillet to include fish heads. Yeah, I know, right? I can now call my Honda Fit an EV because there's a battery under the hood. Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a wonderful guest this week, and it's time to bring them on. They are a streamer. They are a pirate. They are a mouse. They are Raina the Mouse. Everybody give a big round of applause for Raina! Woo!
Hello! I've come from the ether.
Ether?
Or at least the bottom left.
The bottom left? Oh, would somebody describe you as being bottom left?
There's very few people who would describe me as bottom anything, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're top, huh? Okay, gotcha. Well, welcome, Raina.
Much like a coin, heads or tails, whatever works in your favor.
Heads or tails. Ooh, interesting. Hey, you do have a rather nice tail.
Why, thank you.
Yes.
I take very good care of it. Also, your tail is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, thank you. I love my tail. I'm like hop up here and show everybody else my little tail wiggles. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Everyone's got a cute tail. But the one thing that you definitely have me beat on is my ears are just kind of holes in my head with some small feathers around them. But your ears, oh my gosh, spectacular.
Why, thank you. I am very proud of them. They do sometimes cause me problems in doorways, but
yeah,
I make it work.
Well, and I imagine you probably have a pretty thorough cleaning routine for them that you gotta do.
Oh yeah, they get their own self-care routine.
Oh, of course. Well,
some people have a face routine. I got ear routine.
For any of my guests or audience members who may not know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Raina the Mouse?
I'll do my best. Hello, everybody. I'm Raina the Mouse, aka Captain or Mama Mousy. I am a variety streamer who does a variety of things, usually poorly. Usually doing them while singing and or drinking, and usually cavorting about with my crewmates. I am the captain of the airship Aurelia, but I spend most of my days in port these days, enjoying more to relax, play video games, read visual novels, and spend some time with the people.
Very nice. Now, I think I remember you saying something that you have the ability to change size?
Yes. So this shiny little green gem that's underneath my chin here on my collar, this actually allows me to adjust my size. I am able to move anywhere from 3 inches small to 16 feet tall.
16 feet? That's big.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's big. Well, you talk about having trouble with doorways. Why don't you just shrink yourself down before going through them? That seems a little easier.
Well, I default at 5'8", and then sometimes I forget. And then suddenly I go into a space that is meant for smaller stature, and the ears just kind of get, flipped back.
But it must be nice. You can, you go to McDonald's, you can actually go in the play place, shrink yourself down, and have a ball in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Hide and seek with me is a fun trial.
Oh, gosh, wouldn't even want to try. So, you are also, you mentioned that you are a captain of a ship. Now, are you?
Yes.
Are you more of a merchant ship, a mercenary ship, or are you straight up a pirate?
Oh, I'm straight up a pirate. My Aurelia is actually a refitted merchant ship that I had readjusted to support cannons as well as extra ammunition storage just down below. I am what would be, for the people that know the terms, I would be considered a blue rogue versus a black pirate. I only take from those that I feel deserve it, and I try to give back where I can to either the local ports that I tend to frequent or giving to my fellow crewmates and to their causes.
That's the way to be. Kind of a Robin Hood type almost. We don't, or
Exactly.
Recently I've been playing Red Dead 2. Feels more like the Vanderland gang, where you're not going around just killing and murdering innocent folk. You guys steal from the banks and the rich people,
Exactly. It's I'm going after yachts and people who have too much money and they collect it and they like dragon hoards. I'm like, no.
Going after
Let me help
yachts.
you test your security system.
So have you reached out to the orcas to form an alliance against the yachts?
I cannot confirm nor deny my communications with the orcas.
Oh. I mean, she's confirming, but she can't say it. No, I know the game. Yes. Yeah, doing some pirating and sailing. A game that I have played quite a bit of, that I know that you have played quite a bit of, is Sea of Thieves. It's one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
games of all times. Now, when you've played Sea of Thieves, what's kind of your style of play when you play Sea of Thieves?
Oh, I'm an explorations and map person. I love picking up quests and going on treasure hunts and things like that. Also going after the oh gosh, the name's escaping me now, but the underground or the underwater temples and stuff like that with the
Yes.
sirens and what. Yeah, I love those. They are so much fun. They are absolutely beautiful as well.
Oh yeah.
It just it's incredibly pretty and incredibly fun. I love just the sheer amount of love and aesthetic that went into those areas, so that's definitely one of my favorites. I have been finding I've been enjoying fortresses more recently though. I think just because they've made them a little bit better as time's gone on,
Yes.
with just like the bits of quality of life improvements that they've made. So fortresses are definitely up there. But I like going on like a treasure hunt. I like going and figuring out puzzles and clues and finding like it makes the reward all the more worth it knowing I actually worked for it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like it is really fun. Like taking the map, and especially like the riddle ones. It's like go to the tallest hill and
Hmm.
sing a shanty by the well, and it's like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then
Yeah.
actually, looking at the maps with the X marks the spot and trying to figure out exactly where it is,
Hmm.
which
40 paces from the eagle's eye. It's like it's just it's great.
it's so cool. Yeah, like the first time you like actually figure it out, like when you, I wish I could go back to like the first time I ever played, when I was actually doing a mission and
Oh,
like
yeah.
actually figuring out, it's like, oh, I have to stand at this flag here and actually bring out my compass and go south by southwest, and oh, if I right click, it actually counts the paces exactly. It's like that's really cool.
Yeah, the little things that they've done to kind of improve over the years from like when you and I started like years ago to now, like what's available to new players. I'm so glad that people have an opportunity to like get that same level of like fun and experience, but get it in a slightly less difficult way to learn way.
Hmm. And I legitimately enjoy doing the tall tales. Like,
Hmm.
I think they're fun. I was
No, I agree. Yeah.
little small slight spoilers ahead here. I was a little miffed when I beat the gold hoarder and was in this giant vault full of gold, and then
Hmm.
the pirate lord's like, "No, the true treasure is the friends we made along the way," and it's like.
It's like, no, the true treasure's right there. Give it.
Yes, surely I could just fill up one bag of gold and take it, right? It's like, no, just take this skull. You'll sell it for 10,000 gold, and that'll be
Yeah,
fine.
but let me like fill the skull with more gold and like some trinkets and shinies. Come on, man. Like I'm just asking for a skull's worth of gold here. Come on.
But it's also been really cool through the years how they've done like storylines and stuff, and how the game will actually
Hmm.
change based off of the storylines. Like, it was kind of cool when like Golden Sands got destroyed, and they're like, you can join the Reapers or the Athena's crew, and can we save
Hmm.
Golden Sands? And apparently like 80% of players ended up going with the Athena thing and saving Golden Sands. It would have been interesting. Like, what if it gone the other way? Would Golden Sands have been another Reapers hideout?
That would be really interesting, but I'm guessing that's one of the things that they were planning for. I guess is either that or they would have made it like a it's a last refuge for those against the Reapers or something like that. Like trying to play it in like story wise as best they can to kind of plan for either contingency, but make it fun regardless.
Yeah. But I mean, we ended up with Port Merrick out of it, and that's a really cool outpost. Like,
That is true. That is true.
that's when you can just walk around and explore, and just like, yeah, you're saying, just so many little details everywhere. And
Hmm.
one thing that I've been really impressed with is the Pirates of the Caribbean and Monkey Island tall tales. Like,
Okay, I loved when I found out that they were doing the Monkey Island stuff. Like that is so cool because I didn't get to grow up with Monkey Island. That was something that I completely missed in my youth as a young mouseling. But I found it later in life, and then finding it in Sea of Thieves, just seeing how they adapted it, I was like, oh, that's so clever. That's so fun.
and yeah, it's like it's in the Sea of Thieves engine, but it does feel like you're doing an adventure game, having to go places and solve puzzles, and the puzzles felt
Hmm.
pretty true to those old Tall Tale games.
Yeah.
And now Tall Tales is out of business, or Telltale.
Telltale,
Yeah,
yeah.
Telltale. Because apparently they spent way too much money licensing these big things, and then the game sales weren't enough to make up for the licensing fees.
Unfortunately.
Because turns out Batman, Walking Dead, and Game of Thrones are expensive IPs.
Who'd have guessed? Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really actually did you ever play the Batman Telltale games?
I didn't. The Telltale game that I'm most familiar with was The Walking Dead, and I absolutely ate that up. I was like in for every episode as it was happening. I was really really into it, and then I don't know what it was, but I think like at some point it lost a little bit of its initial shine for me, so I didn't end up continuing, and so I still haven't finished the initial like Walking Dead Telltale stuff, but I did hear good things about the Batman one.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Honestly, with the kind of streams that you do, I think that would be a very good game for you to stream. And
Okay.
God, that'd be the kind of game where it'd be really cool if they had Twitch integration to let your streamers like vote for the choices.
Yeah, like through like a poll system or something like that, like they allowing them to vote via that. That would be very cool.
I mean, you could maybe
I
do
like that
like
idea.
a little impromptu poll. I don't know if you have like.
Oh yeah.
Do you have time limits on those though?
You can. Usually it's you can set it to like a minute or something like that or longer. It's all kind of dependent. The problem is that you're either having to do it very quickly yourself or you have to have a mod that's ready and available to make the poll for you. And just to be like or essentially like I'm going to be like, "Hey, I'm stealing one of my mods practically all stream because you're going to be my poll person."
Like this isn't really too much of a spoiler, but one thing I really liked about that game is I was like, you need to go confront the Penguin. Are you going to go as Batman or do you want to go as Bruce Wayne?
Ah,
like,
that's fun.
Yeah, so like you can get totally different scenes whether you decide to show up as Batman or Bruce Wayne, and it's just like so it actually has some good replayability to see like which character you want to which side of the character you want to go as.
I really enjoy that as well. Like, there was oh gosh, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, but essentially it was like the girl who could like rewind time and stuff like that. And she had like a bunch of different decisions and things like that she could make. And each one is like, so and so will remember that this is a thing that's going to happen. This is a thing that won't happen because you didn't do this thing. And it's Life is Strange. Thank you.
Never played that.
Yeah. So I played through the first 2 chapters of the first one. I'm actually planning to revisit it at some point on stream just because it was a very fascinating game and I think it would be kind of fun. But yeah, I love games that allow you to like actually see the impact of the decisions you made. That's actually one of the reasons I loved Knights of the Old Republic so much.
Oh, yeah.
I adore it was my very first Star Wars game and I was smitten from like day one.
Because you could you could make some pretty like whether you went light or dark path, the ending was very different. Which
100%, yeah.
Which I feel wasn't as much of the case with later BioWare games.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that they struck when they struck hard the first time and did a really big success, and then they didn't kind of put in that same effort later on, and it only felt like they either did ones where it was like, okay, dramatic twist, or we're kind of coasting off of the energy from the first one, and it's like,
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big twist in KOTOR. Can we talk about spoilers for, what is that game, 20 years old now?
I was about to say, it's like, I will for the sake of chat, if you have not played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, for all that is good, if you are a Star Wars fan or even just a sci-fi fan, play it. It is absolutely wonderful, and it's a really, really good game. But I will not spoilies, because I can't do it. I can't do it to the peeps.
Yeah, now Star Wars is so bloated, and it feels like...
Yeah.
I feel like too many decisions were made about the storytelling and the world building that can't be undone. Like everything in the prequels.
Well, it's the moment they pulled away from the written universe in any way, the fans were going to be upset regardless. But when they started doing stuff that felt weirdly redacting to the original cinema line, that was when it was like, okay, this is something else. You kind of have to almost separate it from Star Wars OG franchise versus Star Wars Disney franchise, because otherwise it's just going to make people upset.
Well, to me, you said that too, but I kind of feel like there's 3 separate Star Wars. There's original trilogy, prequels, and sequels. And like the original trilogy I love, and the prequels and the sequels are both bad, but they're bad in different ways. One of the ways that I explain is like the prequels are like watching a bad B movie. They can be entertaining, but it's like The Room where it's just like, this is so incompetently made. It's like, okay, people say somehow Palpatine returned. Stupid line, bad line. But I swear, everything in the prequels is that level of dumb or dumber. Midichlorians is dumber than that.
Like, the prequels were campy bad.
Yeah.
Like, whereas the sequels were serious bad. Like, they were trying to take what was kind of played at camp and, like, you know, a little bit, it was done more fun when it was the prequels. The
comparison I saw is that the prequels are The Room and the sequels are Thor Love and Thunder. Where it's like...
Okay, I can't agree with that, only because I actually genuinely do like Thor Love and Thunder, because it is a fun movie.
Okay, maybe Thor 2? Thor 2?
Okay, I can give you Thor 2. I can give you Thor 2.
Where it's just like, from a, you know, technical movie-making standpoint, the sequels are phenomenally better than the prequels. But the prequels are just so weird and out there that maybe some people can get more entertainment value out of them because the sequels just feel so sterilized. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like, come on, you had the money behind the people that tied together the Marvel movies and they couldn't do a cohesive story for Star Wars? Come on.
Yeah, you took all the base ingredients of a dish and took out all the seasoning. It's just like, it's like, yeah, you can call it this, but it doesn't feel like it.
Like, I think the biggest mistake the sequels made is that, like, when they began, the First Order was pretty much just the Empire already built back up again. It would have been so much more interesting for the Republic to be strong, and then, like, a small band of evil Sith are the rebels that
like a
are,
faction
like...
of it. Just,
Yeah, and we have to deal with this new faction and uprising power, and maybe they start to take over a few systems in the Outer Rim, and they start to gain more and more power as the movies go, and we have an actual all-out war, rather than what we got.
Well, and I mean, even if you want to go on the premise of, like, oh, yeah, there's, like, you know... that they're there and they've been like in the shadows or something like that, and it just took like favor from the wrong people, like that didn't know that they were aligned with the Empire, with this faction, like to make it into this bigger thing. Like they could have done something with it. Like they could have done something to add like something kind of like a level of stakes, a little bit of difference, something a little bit more fun, and less of like a, well, they're back now, so you know, we're doing this again. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, at least The Mandalorian was good.
I still need to finish the later bit of The Mandalorian, but I really, really enjoyed what I've seen so far.
And I haven't seen Andor, but I hear Andor is really good.
I have also heard good things. I need to honestly catch up. Like, I will say, you used the word bloated earlier, and honestly, I cannot agree more. It is, there's so much media of it now that, like, it feels a little bit too much. Like, before we had, you know, the movies, and then there were the comics, and you had, like, a game every, like, maybe year or two, and, like, or you'd have, like, if you're lucky, 2 games in 1 year, but they were for different consoles, or they were 2 different styles. Now it's, like, what was it, like, 3 or 4 separate Star Wars things got announced within a year and a half. After, I think I want to say the second of the sequels of the movies, like when it started getting like that popularity, and started like getting like some traction, and people weren't like immediately hating on it. So, and now it's just, there's so much of it that I'm like, Christ, I have no idea how much of it I'm actually going to keep up with.
I think that's one of the biggest problems they ran into with Marvel, is that like at Endgame, people are like, okay, this is still manageable, we like it. Now they're like, I feel like I have to watch 30 movies and 10 TV shows just to understand what's happening in this movie, and it's like, you kind of don't, but people feel like you do. And
you don't want to have FOMO. That's the problem, is because you also don't want to be the person that's out on the joke, or like the reference. And so like me and my partner Candy, we're actually like watching through the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, just because, like, for fun, because why not? And the only series that we've actually sat down to watch is Daredevil, and only because like the other ones genuinely didn't feel necessary. Like they felt like the references would be good, but it felt less something inclined towards what we both wanted to watch. And Daredevil was like, okay, no, we actually wanted to watch Daredevil because we both liked the original Daredevil, like comics and stuff like that, and the characters that Daredevil interacted with. So we were like, okay, this one we can sit down and watch. Sure,
Well,
this one we'll actually sit with.
Raina, you gotta watch She-Hulk.
No,
She-Hulk is so good.
I'm sorry, no.
It's a comedy, and it's got Daredevils in it.
I will let myself watch one episode, and I will decide after that. But from what I've seen, I'll be honest, does not feel like my bag.
Okay, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, but I've been a fan of Tatiana Maslany for a long time. She's oh yeah,
no qualms against the actress, but
yeah.
it's the writing I have an issue with.
Well, I mean, it has a very different tone than the rest of Marvel stuff. It's very much a goofy, out there comedy, but to me it works. But
yeah, that's valid. Yeah, I ain't here to knock anybody that actually enjoys the show. It's just, from what I've seen, it doesn't feel like my kind of humor or like my particular cup of tea. So I'm just kind of like, we'll see.
Well, I do know that like Winter Soldier and the Falcon was one of the most boring shows I ever watched, and I've tried to watch it multiple times, and every time I get through like 2 episodes, and I'm like, I just can't.
That's valid.
Yes, too much. There's too much out there. It's just like,
yeah.
It was some internet videos watching, but they were talking about the blurring of pop culture. How, like, you know, back when our grandparents were there, it's just like, well, we have 3 television channels, and that's it. And so everybody watched those 3 things. So, like, usually when there was a big show, you would talk about it, and everybody saw it because it was all that was on. And now,
it was the thing that you talked about at the water cooler.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, in the 80s, we got a couple more networks, and then we started getting cable television, and things started expanding more and more.
Yeah. Reality TV
blurring.
shows started to kick off. Standard, like, sitcoms and stuff like that started going out more. And
yep.
Yeah.
And then a little old thing called the internet happened. And now with, like, YouTube, it's just like there's more content uploaded to YouTube every day than you could possibly watch in your lifetime.
Yep.
Now, most of it is absolute trash and garbage.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like, you know, you could watch a YouTube channel show and really enjoy it, and it could be great and worthwhile, and then you go and literally nobody that you know in person has ever even heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you find something accidentally niche, and you're just like, oh, you're gonna love this thing, and then you share it with people, and they're like, how did I not find this? And I'm like, because there's so much out there. I'm surprised that I found it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, there's some YouTube channels that I really enjoy that I bet even my online friends have never even heard of. And but then there's, you know, you got stuff like Red Letter Media, which, you know, famous for their Star Wars reviews and stuff, but now they do so much else. I mean, my favorite stuff on them is their Wheel of the Worst, where they watch like random like VHS like
Oh, I have to check that out. That sounds like fun.
Like, it could be like an educational video, or like an anti-smoking PSA type thing, or like a concert video, or like a video for like seniors to learn how to line dance. It's just like,
Aw, yeah. It's I think it's like with the rise of things like streaming and the rise of things like podcasts, it has opened the door for even more content. But I like when it's like people who've been part of the content wheel for quite some time use it as an opportunity to adapt and try out these new things, but still doing it in their own way. And it's like, okay, no, this is cool. I like this because like it's familiar yet different.
Yeah. Well, like in 2020, when all the film studios shut down from the pandemic, quite a number of celebrities and actors started their own Twitch channel and did stuff.
Yeah.
The majority of whom no longer do it.
Well, because the industry picked back up again.
Yeah. But hey, my buddy Paul Scheer still does it every Thursday.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So some of them still stick with it. So yeah, it's...
Well, some of them find that it's a thing that they actually just legitimately enjoy as a long-term thing. And it's like, hell yeah, find the thing that you enjoy.
What I want to see is like, I want to see professional voice actors VTubing as the characters they voice act.
If they were allowed to, honestly, I think that would be pretty great.
But, like, I think Sega should talk to Ben Schwartz and be like, hey, it doesn't need to be a regular thing, but why don't you do a few streams playing some Sonic the Hedgehog games as Sonic? And, like,
that would be pretty fun.
Ben Schwartz is an amazing improviser, so he would have no trouble staying in character.
I would 100. I'm with you, Bentar. I would 100% watch Paul F. Tompkins' VTube as Mr. Peanut Butter.
Oh my god,
that would be amazing. Gosh, Mr. Peanut Butter doing something alongside Papa Butt would be amazing. That'd be so much fun.
Okay, I am going to be meeting Paul F. Tompkins a week from tomorrow, and I am going to recommend that to him.
Do it.
Yeah.
Also, comic. Clearly, Matt Mercer is just going to his VTuber is a DMs board.
Nice.
And he's just the symbol that's on the back of the DMs board.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna recommend that to Paul. So you're like, how are you meeting Paul F. Tompkins? Because Comedy Bang Bang is on tour right now, and Paul F. Tompkins is on tour with them, and I paid the extra $100 to get the VIP meet and greet after the show.
Lucky ducky, very cool.
Yes, is saving up money and spending a lot of it really luck?
Well,
a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
But I'm also a subscriber to their the CBB World, Comedy Bang Bang World. It's a podcast network, and people who
I was gonna say the name rings a bell.
People who are subscribers to that did get first dibs at tickets, like pre-sales.
Hell yeah,
stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I saw Paul F. Tompkins last month at his Varietopia show, which is like a live variety show, and that was really, really fun. It was like there was some stand-up. He had a band that he tours with and did some singing with, but then Open Mike Eagle came out and did some songs. Then another comedian, Hannah Pilkin or something like that. She came out and she was hilarious. John Moe, who took over Prairie Home Companion, came out, and him and Paul F. Tompkins read 1-star Amazon reviews of classic literature.
Oh, that's great.
One of the funniest bits was like, upcoming soon, and I assure you, this 1-star review is not for the reasons you're worrying about, but we're going to read a 1-star review of The Diary of Anne Frank. Again, it's not for the reasons you're worried about.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, Comedy Bang Bang is my favorite podcast, and it's been around for almost, I think slightly over 15 years now, 16 years.
Dang.
Which for a podcast,
I'll have to see if I can catch that then, because I there's so many different podcasts out there that I'm just like, oh gosh, what am I in the mood for now these days? Like, because I listen to Mim Bim Bam from time to time. I listen to some the odd true crime stuff. I listen to r/ for Reddit reviews and stuff like that. Like, it's just, there's so many podcasts and things out there now that I'm just like, there's too much choices and only so much time, but I will find time to listen to some of this stuff.
Yeah, I luckily have a job where I can work while listening to podcasts, because I stare at a glowing rectangle and push buttons on a keyboard all day and get paid for it. But I'm really good at pushing the right buttons at the right time.
Exactly. It's your skill.
Yeah, and being able to listen to podcasts. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like, you got to have a good variety stuff. So you got some comedy, and I'm not into true crime as I used to be, because a lot of it just, I don't know. I get an icky feeling after doing true crime.
I think it's dependent on the theme. Like, that's a big part of it for me. One of a YouTuber that I follow, I've forgotten her name at this moment, but she essentially works as a mortician, and she talks about like mortician crimes and things like that, and stuff like that, like weird stuff that's happened at morgues and
Is
whatnot.
Is it called
and
Ask a Mortician, or?
I think it might be Ask a Mortician, and then there's another one as well that I got tuned on to like a few years ago that the name escapes me, but I love stuff like that, because the thing is, I like something that's like educational without being too gross or too creepy, like, because if it's a little bit too how do I want to word it,
murder porn?
If they, if it's too murder porny, I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't like gore or like mess for the sake of it, like gratuitous. It's the same reason, like, while I like horror, I don't really enjoy slashers.
Yeah, I'm the same
Like,
way. I like
mhm.
something like The Witch, which is really not that violent at all, but just creepy and dreadful. I mean, or anything but
Yeah.
anything by Ari
Something
Aster.
that's like got you that deep unsettling feeling. Oh yeah, hit me with that. I'm down. But when
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, we're gonna just lean in as hard as we can with the special effects and the physicality stuff, and then making it as icky as possible to look at. And I'm like, oh, please don't. I want to enjoy this media.
Yeah, it's like I love horror, but I'm never going to see the movie Hostel. I'm just
Yeah,
I've
fair.
heard about it, not interested.
Yep.
But if there is true crime, there are two true crime podcasts that I think are really enjoyable to listen to if you don't really like the violent stuff. One is just called Criminal, which they do often sometimes focus on murder cases, but they are really more about the justice system and the crime. Like, they've done stuff like they did an episode on
Okay.
DB Cooper, and just like things that maybe like were a crime, like they had an episode like crime, like things that women would do that were crimes in the early 1900s that are
Oh,
not
that's
crimes
interesting. I
now.
like that.
And the other one, which it's kind of a true crime comedy podcast, it's called Scam Goddess, and it's all about
Ooh.
scams and frauds, and so like talking about people who led big Ponzi schemes or like Instagram
Oh no, that I'm gonna have to look up.
scammers.
That I'm gonna have to check out because
Yeah.
stuff that's got that catch me if you can kind of energy, where it's just like this person committed a bunch of crimes, but they didn't necessarily like hurt anybody. I'm just like, okay, you've got my interest, and I'm curious as to like how they got away with it and how it happened for as long as it did. That's genuinely interesting.
Yeah, and Lacey Mosley is she's hilarious. She's very funny. She's a comedian actress. I think iCarly is the show she's on right now, the new iCarly reboot.
Oh.
But yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
check her out, because it's true crime that doesn't make you feel icky, because she's just like, no, you want true crime? I'm going to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about murders here because women have to hear about violence often enough, and we don't want that here.
Yeah, or just people who are like very clearly like they're in it because it's so visceral and grotesque, and I'm just like, you're in this for kind of an icky reason. I don't like that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there was one I used to listen to way back in the day called Sword and Scale, and then I'm like, wow, this guy really just loves hearing about people getting hurt. And then it turns out he was friends with some really far right people, and
Oh no. Okay.
yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that. But yeah, you're right. There's just so much out there. There's so many video games out there. It's like I don't even play any new. Everyone talks about these great new video games, and I'm like, I'm really looking forward to getting super into Baldur's Gate 3 in 2 years.
I was gonna say I still haven't played it, but I've had it for pretty much I think since like a month after release. And I feel so bad because it was bought for me by a friend, and they're like, I'd love to show you stuff and be around and play it with you. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it. And that's one of the biggest things is like trying to. The reason I actually started doing this whole streaming thing in the first place. Oh, drink some water. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get myself a new can. Actually, I'm almost empty.
Oh no.
I fix. Hold on. 1 second.
But yeah, I get that. I got a Nintendo DS later, like late into its life, and I'm like, oh, I'll get Animal Crossing. And by the time I played Animal Crossing New Leaf, nobody else was playing, so I didn't get to do any of the fun stuff of like going to friends' islands and all that stuff. And it's like,
Yeah. Oh, with like New Horizons releasing in 2020, and I think I only started playing it like end of last year.
yeah. And now nobody else plays it anymore. It was like, but boy, that game could not have released at a better time.
I know. What was it? Was like Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing, New Horizons releasing right at the peak of the pandemic, and I'm just like, y'all, you gave the perfect game at the perfect time, because if there's one thing people need right now is cute cartoon animals and being able to at least pretend like they're outside for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I'm a sucker for the Animal Crossing line, but my cozy game of choice has always been Harvest Moon. That one's always been one that I loved.
Yeah, I just had a guest on a few weeks ago, Rosaldia, who's super into farming sims, and she loves the Harvest Moon series and all those cozy farming simulators. What I really want is more games that just have a vast wilderness to just explore. Like I said, I've been recently replaying Red Dead 2, and I could literally spend hours not doing missions, but just exploring and seeing the world, and
I think that's why I loved Horizon Zero Dawn so much, because like while there was the story, I was also totally allowed to just travel into areas where there's very good chance that I'm not supposed to be there yet, but it didn't stop me from going there. It didn't give me like this invisible wall that said, no, you're not allowed to. Like you're under leveled for this area. Literally the only warning the game will ever give you is if you start walking off the world map, and then they're like, hey, we're going to reset you back to like somewhere that is actual civilization because you're just going into the mountains and you're falling off the map now.
Yeah, I recently just played through the Mad Max game, and when you try and leave it, it's like, no, because you have like a little helper that's with you. It's like, no, don't go into the great big open. You'll die out there. And then you can just start driving into the desert, but then like the heat starts to get to you and your health starts draining. And so you go too far and then you just die.
I do like when they actually make it like an implemented like mechanic that stops you, and it's not just like, oh, you fade to black and reset at your last save location. It's like, no, there's actually an environmental reason why you're not allowed to go this way and you're gonna die.
You have entered the Devil's Haze and the water has turned red and will start puncturing holes in your ship.
Yeah, exactly. It's I like when they do stuff like that. That's very fun.
Circle back around to Sea of Thieves.
Of course.
Do you ever?
Yeah, it's.
Do you ever have the Island of Gold, or whatever they call it, the final Tall Tale mission queued up, ready, so that you can activate it, and then if somebody's chasing you, you quick activate it so that you can sail up to the Island of Gold, and they can't follow you.
Gosh, that's clever, but no, I haven't done that.
I did that to escape someone's once. It felt great.
I mean, if it works. Yeah, my experience with Sea of Thieves has mostly been like playing alongside other people. I've had a lot of people who are like, I want to take you on this adventure with me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. So a lot of it's been like, less me just kind of exploring around and doing my own thing, and kind of like being a patriot on someone else's adventure, like just being a compatriot alongside the ride. And it's been a lot of fun doing that because I also get to see how they play and how it differs from how I play. One of the biggest things that people learned pretty quickly was I don't like fighting other players unless I have to. Yeah. Like if they try to start a fight, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna finish it then. But I don't actively seek out other players to harm, and I don't like go after sloops, and I don't like seek out the Reapers and stuff like that. I like to explore. I don't like wrecking other people's like shipping experience, because for me it's about the fun and the exploration and the world that you're in, not the my ship's bigger than yours, explode them to pieces. It's like, that's not fun for me.
Yeah, every time I've done Reaper's Bones and attacked other people intentionally, I always get kind of an icky feeling afterwards, like, this has happened to me before and I don't like it. And
Yeah, Bentar, that's a big part of it. It's one of the reasons why I have such an issue with like when it comes to like open world stuff, griefers. I don't know why people find so much fun in wrecking other people's fun, and that's just like it just seems unnecessarily mean to me, and I don't like it. I had that when playing Elite Dangerous for the first time on stream, and some people who I looked them up, and one of them is actually a really popular Twitch streamer who specializes in griefing people.
Oh,
and I'm just like, man, like the only reason that they haven't gotten in trouble is because they don't grief people that are live when they're live, because that actually is against Twitch TOS. But they grief other streamers when they are not live, and it's like, What? Why are you trying to stop people from enjoying this game you like?
See, I once ran into somebody in game who was a streamer, and I think I was streaming at the time, and we're like, hey, we actually ended up forming an alliance and being nice to each other, and it was great.
Aw, that's great. I love that. Yeah, it's like, find camaraderie in it. Don't like,
Here's a funny
ruin
grief.
someone else's fun.
Here's a funny grief that me and some friends, or that happened once. I was sailing with a friend, and we ran into another crew, and we made friends, and we started an alliance. And then while we were doing that, a third ship came by, and we called out to them and like, hey, join our alliance. And the person was like, amenable to it. And so now we got a 3-ship alliance. And so the 3 ships were sailing by, and we were like, we're going to look for the other ships on it. And we find, we go to one of the islands, and there's a sloop there, and it was like a child, like a 12-year-old. And we go to the child, child, we are the band of explorers. You have 2 options. Join us on our crew or die. And of course the child's like, what's going on? And we're like, you are us now. We are adopting you. And so then we had 4 ships in the alliance. It was amazing.
That's wonderful. Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, to get a 4-ship alliance to happen naturally is pretty cool.
That's wild. But honestly, that just means that like the stars aligned in the perfect way for people to get together for that. And that's wonderful.
But
I love that.
now, I want to challenge you because my friend A.V. Featherfelt came up with this idea, or at least told me about the idea. And it's, you do a vault, a gold hoarder's vault.
Okay.
With no ship. You cannot take your ship.
Ooh.
So you have to start off and swim to an island and find a rowboat, and then do the vault only in a rowboat. And can you do it? Can you navigate the map well enough in just your rowboat?
Okay, that sounds actually like a lot of fun.
So the thing is, what we do is you and I each load up a private world, and we have ourselves a race.
Oh my gosh. All right, you know what? I might have to take you up on that because that sounds genuinely silly and honestly delightful.
Yes. And we could each have like our own stream going, but then we could have like a little like picture-in-picture of the other person's stream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot. That sounds like fun.
That sounds like
all right,
fun.
we'll have to plan that.
But you know what else sounds like fun?
Mm.
Talking about a bird. That's right, folks. It's that time. It's time for Bird of the Day.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. So, give me a second just to get the PowerPoint loaded up, because y'all don't need to see the other stuff. All right. We're going to head over to Bird of the Day. No. Quick, get to the bottom right. Yeah, good. A little lower. Oh, I forgot. You gave me a bottle of milk.
In my ears.
Hey everybody, this is a bottle of milk that Raina gave me. It's mouse milk. It's delicious. Gonna have myself a little drink of it now. Yum. Delicious.
Full of all those good vitamins and nutrients.
All those good vitamins and nutrients. All right, so we got a bird of the day to talk about, and well, I always ask my guests, and you said the sandpiper, and unfortunately I've already done that. You said ravens are your favorite. I mean, I did ravens a long time ago. Great bird.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am biased. My mom's a raven, so.
Yeah, of course. And then I thought maybe a cockatoo, since, you know, pirates have parrots and stuff, but no. Then I looked at you. What are you? You are a mouse. So, you are a mouse with big ol' honking titties.
I sure do.
So, of course, the bird of the day needs to be a titmouse.
That's perfect!
So today we're going to talk about the bridled titmouse.
I didn't get to know what the bird of the day was before we started, so I'm smitten. This is grand.
Yes. The bridled titmouse. Look at that's a little cutie. Look
Majestic.
At it. An adorable little bird.
I love the slide of feathers on top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one of the core features of the bridled titmouse is their beautiful little crests. So these guys are tiny little fellers, only 4.5 to 5 inches long, and that's from tip of beak to tip of tail, so it's pretty small.
Oh.
Their wingspans are pretty decent at 8.5 to 10 inches. They don't weigh too much, 0.3 to 0.4 ounces. Very, very light. And as is typical with a tiny little bird, their average lifespan is only 2.1 years. But, you know, for small passerines like this, that low average lifespan is due to an incredibly high infant mortality rate. You know, the overwhelming majority of these bridled titmouses They don't survive their first year. Because, as you can see, they can live up to 13 years old. So, it's, yeah,
it's actually pretty common for mice in general, honestly, so it tracks.
Yep. As you can see, their range there is they are mostly a Mexican bird, but you will also find them in little bits of Arizona and mostly New Mexico. Yeah, just kind of in there. So they don't have a really broad range, and they also do not migrate. So they're pretty much just going to be there the whole time. That's where they live.
Okay.
They are a passeriform, so a passerine, which is pretty obvious. Pretty much all small little perching birds are passerines. And there we go. They are in the genus Bailophus, which is the genus which is all titmice. And there are 6 titmice species. Previous bird of the day, we did the tufted titmouse. They're more in the eastern United States. Also, thanks for the follow, Blitzmaster. Appreciate that. So, let's learn a little bit about them. Look at that little cutie. Look at that little cutie. The males and the females are pretty much the same. The males have slightly more vibrant feathers, but they both have the crests, pretty similar coloration, same size. But yeah, the males are just going to have a little bit more vibrant, brighter whites, darker blacks, stuff like that. They are monogamous for a season, but it's just like every year the female's going to find a new mate. But also, they're monogamous in terms of, staying near each other, living near each other, but they're not monogamous in terms of who they sleep around with. And as is true with most small birds, the males are often raising children that are not biologically their own. But at the same time, there's probably another male who is raising their babies. They just sleep around
kind of communal care.
Yeah. They're not like birds of paradise that are where the females are super, super, picky about who they mate with. They're not, the males.
It's like, you got a pulse? Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the males, they're not going to mate with just anyone, but, if they got a good song, they got some good feathers, they do the little mating dance. But it's mostly their song. The song, the males will sing a little song, and if the females hear that song, you're like, oh, he's got some pipes on him. All right, I'll go over there and see what's up. And then once she chooses a mate, they are going to search for little hooks and nooks and holes in trees and stuff. They like to actually go where woodpeckers used to. If a woodpecker makes a hole in a tree, they'll often go into there. Or if some other bird has made a hole in a tree. But they also, if you put up a nest box, they like nest boxes. Basically, they like enclosed places with a small hole to get in. It's safe. And then the males and the females are both going to gather materials, very small twigs, moss, fluffy stuff. They're going to make a nice little cozy nest within that hole. And then they're going to lay 5 to 9 eggs per clutch, and they might have 2 clutches per year. So I was talking about their lifespan is so low because of the low infant mortality rate. Well, a breeding couple may make anywhere between 10 to 20 eggs in a season. So if 70% of them die, that's still 6 babies making it to adulthood to breed on. So there you go.
Yeah, so not really a populace shortage kind of situation.
Yeah. They have the strategy of make lots of babies and know that most of them are going to die. Unlike the condor, which is we're going to have 1 baby every 2 years, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure that baby survives to adulthood. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Different strategies. But of course, obviously, the titmouse is doing a little better population-wise than the condor, so it's up to you which strategy works better.
Yeah.
Both parents are going to take turns incubating the eggs. The females do a little bit more, but the males do spend some time in there, so lady can go get her dinner. And then once the babies are born, both parents are going to take turns feeding the baby, so that's good. That's nice.
And then, well done.
And then they're usually going to fledge between 2 to 3 weeks after being born. And they'll stick around with their parents until, the winter time. And then the next year they go off and, when they're 1 year old, they can have their own babies. Can you imagine having babies when you're only 1 year old yourself? It's like babies.
Okay, speaking as a mouse, not entirely uncommon, but it's definitely one of those. I'm the outlier amongst my fellow mice.
Well, that's true. Don't mice aren't female mice capable of giving birth when they're 90 days old? That's
Yeah, we mature early.
yeah. Well, different evolution.
I'm technically considered an old crony by my mouse sides.
Oh, I've more than
opinions.
double the life expectancy of a crow, so don't. Look, when you become a VTuber, you know, things are different. Things are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, your anatomy's a little different than most mice that I've seen.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, but biologically, and the fact that I could even speak, is all actually due to a delightful fluke of chance.
I can speak because of my magic twig. It's very important.
I got bopped by a misaligned awakened spell.
Yeah. A lot of VTubers have magical origin stories, don't they?
I mean, it makes sense though.
Yeah.
We're magical people.
It's got resized somehow. Okay, there we go. All right, I got a little video one. It's very short, but it's
Ooh.
cute. Look at this little guy sitting in your feeder.
Aww.
So cute. Yep. So I told you it was short.
Precious.
But no, don't
Fast.
replay it. There was okay. I did a YouTube search for the bridled titmouse, and there was like 3 videos, and the other 2 had like voiceover and were longer and were like other educational videos. I'm like, I'm not gonna play somebody else's educational video, but I will. And then like every other result was a tufted titmouse. It's like, no, I'm not talking about the tufted titmouse. I'm talking about the bridled titmouse. We like, you know, bridled. They're bridled because. You know, I guess maybe because their face feathers almost kind of look like a bridle.
Yeah, I was gonna say it does have something of a bridal effect to it with the line across the eye and whatnot. Yeah,
Now, you ever worn a bridle?
I have, but I'm usually the one that's holding the reins.
Yeah, it works. It works. Now, these guys typically they don't live solo or in pairs. They're usually only going to be around. They live in small flocks, so there's going to be, you know, anywhere between like 6 to 20 of them that'll live in little groups together. Oftentimes, they're family. You know, so the juveniles might stay with their parents for a few years, and you know, because there's safety in numbers. You know, lots more eyes to spot predators.
Yeah, when you're that small, you kind of need to cluster together.
And then they actually join mixed flocks of other birds in the wintertime, which is interesting because they're non-migratory. Usually that's the thing that you see with migrating birds, but in the winter months when it's a little bit colder and maybe there's just less vegetation, they do tend to be in larger flocks that might include finches, warblers, you know, other little birds. Or chickadees, which chickadees are tits. These guys are tits, chickadees are tits. But we call titmice tits in the United States, but chickadees are a type of tit that we don't call tit for some reason. I don't know
Yeah, just
why.
called chickadees. Huh.
Yeah, they're called chickadees. But yeah, like you look at a chickadee and then you look like at a blue and yellow tit, and you're like, oh yeah, other than their color of their feathers, their structure is pretty much exactly the same. You know, they just got those cute little beaks. I love their little beaks. Look at those cute little beaks.
These are so cool. You're small.
Yep. Now, for safety and for foraging, they spend most of their time in trees with lots of vegetation and growth because they can kind of hang out near the center of the tree, and it keeps them well hidden, and it keeps them, you know, like I said, hidden, safe. But also, that's where they do most of their foraging because these little guys are omnivores. They like nuts, they like berries, but they also like small insects. So, you know, if there's like ants and crickets and stuff crawling up a tree, they'll hop around and grab himself a little bit of a snack. They're pretty opportunistic.
Walk along and just.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They like pine trees a lot. They like having like those little pine nuts and stuff, and you know, pretty much anything they can get their little beaks on. They're opportunistic. They tend to eat more insects when they're children. So the parents, when they're foraging for the babies to go bring food to the nest, they're going to try and find insects because all that little extra protein helps the babies grow up big and strong.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing that they do is that during the summer months and in fall, they will grab food and not immediately eat it, and they will bring it back to their roost, and they will store it there for when, you know, food might not be as plentiful. So, you know, kind of, you know, that shows intelligence. Smart little guys who can actually think and plan ahead and know, hey, I shouldn't just eat everything I can find now because I might need it later.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah. And then another thing that ornithologists have found is that the crest on their head can kind of be a signal of their mood. So, if it's like up and forward, like really far forward, that might be more an aggressive stance. If they're scared and trying to hide, it flattens down and goes back. But they also tough it up and really poof it out when they're doing their mating rituals and stuff. So you can really, their crests really move around quite a bit. And you can tell a lot by what that bird's feeling by the way that their crest is shaped. So that sounds pretty
Very
neat.
cool.
And then the good news about these little guys is that their populations have remained stable. So they are a species of least concern, not endangered at all.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do I have to say about the bridal titmouse? I mean, it's just a cute little bird. How can you not love these little guys? It's like, are they super interesting? Do they have really cool, unique stuff or cultural significance? Not really. But, they're one of the kind of birds that just makes being out in nature pleasant. So you can't, you gotta love them. What do you think?
I definitely enjoy them. I like that they are tenacious little creatures that, despite their size, they will do what they can to just keep surviving. And I like that the way that they adapt with like their mating and stuff like that, and that it's like kind of a communal, like the village takes care of everybody. So like some male might take care of someone else's eggs, but it doesn't turn into like a "these aren't my eggs, kick them out of the nest" kind of thing. It's like they all take care of each other, and while unfortunately there are fairly plentiful losses because of just how much of their clutch that they have in the first place, there's not a fear of them going away, which I really, really like. It's like they're like, no, we're sticking it out. We're going to be around, and while we may not be around for long, we're still going to be around.
Yep, they're adaptable little guys who seem to be doing quite well, and yeah, they do well in suburban areas as well as rural areas. They just need to, as I said, if you're in the region where they are, build a nest box and you might have some of these in there. So we got any...
I do love their crests as well. The facial markings and stuff like that are just incredibly pretty.
Yeah, very pretty. I think these guys are prettier than their cousins, the tufted titmouse. I like them a lot. And tufted titmouse are really cute. Although I still think of all the tits, the long-tailed tit is the cutest one. Though there's those little ones that you always see in like Japanese stuff where they're like pure white and then they have this like that two little white dots for eyes and the little like triangle beak.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, I'm looking at one right now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Long-tailed tits are just adorable. But I think tits in general might be the cutest birds. Not the prettiest birds, but I think they're
definitely
the cutest. They're just cute little guys. Just wanna give them a little hug. Just be like, you're cute. I would say a peck on the cheek, but coming from a bird, that could actually be painful.
I was about to say, just like a gentle nuzzle of appreciation.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're gonna call this bird of the day done and head back on over to the studio. I always forget to not like that. Hey, good. You're back on the couch. All right. Well. We have one more segment to do, and it is one of Corvus Twig's patented trivia games.
Ooh.
Now, this one, kind of a fun one, kind of a topical one, and don't worry too much about this because every one, it's either a 50-50. You got a 50-50 on all these. And, well, there's something kind of big going on right now. Kind of a big international event. You know what I'm talking about? It's happening over in France right now. Just kind of had a big ceremony about it on Friday.
My brain is drawing a blank.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the Olympics. So, the Olympics are happening in Paris right now. But this is not the first time the Olympics have happened in Paris. And in fact, the first time the Olympics happened in Paris was in the year 1900. And this was only the second modern Olympic Games. The very first one was in 1896 in Athens. And Paris decided to do one 4 years later. And that was actually kind of the beginning of we're going to do it every 4 years now. Because they did the one in Athens, and then not a whole lot was planned. And then 4 years later, Paris is like, we're doing it now. And so then that's just like, so we're going to do it every 4 years now. Okay, that's how it began.
Okay.
Now, as you can imagine, the events that have happened in the Olympics have changed a bit in the last 124 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 1900 Paris Olympics, there was some events that we may not have thought of as Olympic sports. Although some of them we did think of as Olympic sports, and some of them very much still are. I mean, obviously, things like track and field and, some other sports and stuff existed back then. But back then, they used to do a thing that was called demonstration sports. So some of these things were events that took place at the Olympics, but are no longer considered to have actually been Olympic events. So some of these things on this list are going to be items that the Olympic Committee does not say was technically ever a Olympic event, but it was still an event held at the 1900 Paris Olympics. It was just afterwards they said, no, this doesn't count. So we're going to play a little game here.
But okay.
I'm going to name some events for you. And you must tell me, was this an event at the 1900 Paris Olympics or not?
Oh boy. Okay.
So, all of these are real competitions, but specifically you need to say, was this a competition at the 1900 Paris Olympics?
Okay.
Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
All right. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me I get my piece of paper and pen so I can keep track of your score. That's important. Gotta tally your score. All right. The first one was basketball. Did they have basketball at the 1900 Paris Olympics?
I want to say no.
Oh, you want to say no? Okay.
I
You're
do not think
right.
that would be something.
They did not do basketball at the 1900 Olympics. It was not until 1908 that basketball became an Olympic sport. So very good. Best pronunciation of croissant.
Croissant.
Croissant. All right. Well, 1 for 1. Off to a great start.
And it's all downhill from here.
Next event, croquet. Did they play croquet at the 1900 Olympics?
Yes.
You're going to go with yes. And
I'm going to go with a soft yes.
You'd be right. They did play croquet at the 1900 Paris Olympics. No longer an Olympic sport, but, it's they did then. I haven't played croquet in a long time. And also, I don't think
it's French because it's not cricket.
Yeah. I almost put cricket on this list. Cricket is not on the list, but it was an event at the 1900 Olympics.
Huh.
Yeah, that was one of the real ones.
Interesting.
But, I've never played croquet on a lawn like these people are playing on, where it's like a putting green,
like an actual field.
Yeah, where you can actually get some good. I only ever played in backyards in longer grass.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And also the ground's uneven and you're trying not to make sure you don't hit the edge of the slope if the backyard's a little bit off.
Oh yeah, we we did that and not proper croquet, but it was still fun. All right.
Sumigahara, clearly you're thinking of when the Olympics took place in Wonderland.
Also, please, just call him Haseo.
Oh, Haseo? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those Japanese things. Family name first.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
All right. Cannon shooting.
I want to say yes just because I'm hoping it's true.
It's true. There was a cannon shooting event. This is one of the ones where the Olympic Committee's like, no, that doesn't count. But damn it, there was a cannon shooting competition in Paris in 1900 during the Olympics. I say it counts. Now, it wasn't like in the picture here where they were shooting a person out of a cannon. It was All right.
You gotta admit, that would be a whole extra feat.
All right. A hot air balloon race.
No, I don't think that was a thing in the 1900 Olympics.
Okay, well, you are correct. Wow, you are good at this. You are spotting the fakes, no problem. Which, this feels like it would be a thing, wasn't it? And
See, I feel like it wouldn't be an Olympic sport, but it would be a world event. That's
Yeah.
what my thought process would be. That it's like it's its own separate thing, not tied into the Olympics. Like the whole focus would be this.
yeah, I mean, there was definitely hot air balloon races in that era, but...
Exactly.
All right. Firefighting.
Ooh.
Like they would intentionally
this is
start a
tricky.
house on fire and see which team could put out the fire fastest.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say this wasn't in the 1900 Olympics.
Well, I guess you had to get one wrong eventually. That was real. That was a real event that they did.
I had a feel because I was like, I know I've heard of events where that is a thing that you do, but I'm like, but was it an Olympic thing? And my brain was like, I don't remember. You're not sure.
But, again, this is one of the ones that they called demonstration sports and wasn't a full-on one. But, you know, things were weird back then. They didn't even give away medals back then. They gave away, like... Yeah, like, your prize could have been, like, a wreath of roses instead of a medal. Yeah.
Yeah, see, Haseo, that's what I was thinking. The Firemen Olympics. Like, my brain was like, it was its own separated, like, thing, but it wasn't part of the Olympics.
God, you see those guys where, like, they have ladders, and there's, like, a big structure that just has hooks on it, and they'll just, like, climb up the ladder, grab the ladder, lift it up, put it in the next hook, climb up the ladder, and just, like, climb, like, up 6 stories, and they do it in, like, 30 seconds, and you're like, how?
Them running with the ladder and then, like, continuing the run by leaping over a wall. It's nuts. It's so crazy.
Using a ladder as a pole vault.
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy and I love it. It's a feat to the mind and the physical body. That is so nuts.
Yeah, those guys are amazing. All right. Equestrian high jump.
That does feel very French, I will admit. I'm gonna say fake. It's not something. It was not done.
That is real. They did the equestrian high jump. Yep. They would have like those, you know, like those. I mean, basically like a high jump bar, but the horses had to clear higher and higher poles. And
that's nuts. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Log tossing.
The caper toss is something that's done in like Ireland and stuff like that.
The Scottish games are hardcore.
Yeah, that's the Scottish game. So that can't be. I don't think that would have been done in the 1900 Olympics. It is a sport. It is a thing that happens, but I don't think that was done in the 1900 France Olympics.
Of course, I mean, I have a photograph of it happening right here. So.
Yeah. Well, the internet's a crazy place.
It is. It is. You're gonna say fake on this one?
I think it's. Yeah, I don't think this is something that was done in the 1900 French Olympics.
And you are correct. They did not do it in the 1900 Olympics. I'm sure they were doing it in some places in 1900, but not here.
I was about to say, yeah, I was like, yes, sport, not here. Somewhere else.
All right. Tug of war.
That feels real.
Does feel real, doesn't it?
But it probably isn't, does it?
Nope, it's real. You got it right.
Hey, all right, okay.
Yeah. And this was not just a demonstration event. This was an actual event. But it's no longer an Olympic sport. Honestly, I think it should make a comeback. And I think they should do it Squid Game style. Where
with like the chop block, yeah.
Yeah, now obviously you would have a big pool of water underneath.
Oh, yeah, but
yeah. You know, something soft for them to land on, but it'd be funny to watch the losing team tumble down. Although I suppose even like, you know, if you have people like tied to each other, there's still a high chance of injury of them landing on each other.
Yeah, it feels like something you'd see in like Ninja Warrior or something like that, where it's like, okay, the risk of potential injury is pretty high, but you've signed a waiver confirming it.
Yeah. But I think, you know, just doing a standard on-the-ground tug-of-war where you just have a flag in the middle, whoever get that flag past a point on the other side. Because I think that'd be cool. I think there could be some really good competitions with that. I feel like Samoa would do good in it. Just get some of those big Samoan
100%,
dudes.
yeah.
Kick
Oh
ass.
my goodness, yeah.
All right, ping pong.
I'm gonna say yes. Just because I'm curious.
Okay.
I feel like it's something the French would do.
Unfortunately, no. Ping pong was not a
Damn.
competition at the 1900 Olympics. Ping pong was around, but there was no competition there for it.
Ah, beans.
Now, you watch these high-end ping pong players, and it's just like the speed and the reflexes these people have.
Even just at my local rec center, it's crazy. They have ping pong tables set up just outside the gym space, and like the speed in which the regulars do it, it is nuts.
Yeah, you know somebody's a really good ping pong player when both of the players are 5 feet away from the table.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, me and, anybody I play against, we're, like, right up on it. And you're just like...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're treating it like it's air hockey. It's like, we're not walking back.
Well, now they have kind of the in-between, which is pickleball. And, like, pickleball's meant for people who are not really athletic. But then you watch, like, super athletic and really good people playing pickleball, and it's just like, this doesn't seem right. Just play tennis.
It feels like an entirely different sport.
Yeah. All right. Rock climbing.
Oh. I'm gonna say no.
And you'd be correct. There was no rock climbing competition. Feels plausible, though.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like it's a plausible thing, but it feels like one of those things similar to like the caber toss and like the other stuff where it's like, it feels like it's its own distinct thing, not really a part of the Olympics thing.
Yeah, well, and competitive rock climbing is difficult because it's like, you kind of have to almost make like a unique course every competition and almost like change it around per heat or something so that every climber has to climb something they've never climbed before, but they all have to
they
climb
can't
the
be
same,
practiced.
but they all have to climb the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
But also,
Whereas,
it's just like, are you allowed to watch? Feels like going last would be a huge advantage if you're able to watch your competitors do it and see the lines they take, and
Yeah, I do know that there are some where it's like when it comes to like certain challenges and stuff like that, you actually are not allowed to watch the other people do their course or their run, and where they go after their session is over is into like a different side waiting room so that they can't discuss with the person like what it was like or what they experienced while doing it.
That makes sense. That's good. That's how it should be.
Gotta keep it a challenge.
Oh yeah. Keep it fair. All right. Angling, as in fishing.
I'm gonna say no.
I say no. Okay. Well, you're wrong. There was a fishing competition.
There was a okay. All right.
Yep. It was even on the River Seine. Who could ever get the biggest fish out of the River Seine during a time period?
That is nuts. Okay.
Yeah. It also feels like that's kind of a luck-based thing.
I can see why they wouldn't consider it like a thing in the actual Olympics now, only because it is so kind of luck-based, while also being like, it's very reliant on the fauna, like of the area you're in, which can be a bit hit or miss regardless.
I'm guessing there's probably a bit fewer fish living in the Seine now than there was 124 years ago.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little bit. All right, chess.
I could see that. I don't know if it would be, but I could see it.
So you're gonna go real on this one.
I think I'm gonna go real on this one.
Okay. Well, you're wrong. There was no chess. No chess.
So similar to the caber toss and the other stuff, it's like they have their own tournaments, but not in the Olympics.
Yep. And I know there's been pushes to get chess into the Olympics, but I do feel like the Olympics should be restricted to things that have some level of athleticism.
I agree.
I have nothing against, chess, poker, any other like games of skill. I think they're all wonderful. I love them myself, but not sports. To me,
yeah. Well, I was gonna say this is a skill of the mind versus like a skill of the body. This is not working on like your muscle, your evasion, like things like that. Like this is very much it's a mental skill and your like preemptive planning and stuff like that.
Right. Which, I mean, like, curling is very much that, too, but you do still need to have physical ability to push the stone and to do the sweeping, so it's like, there's still physicality involved.
Yeah, it's like, for curling, you have to be, like, you don't just kind of huck it, you really have to contemplate, all right, how much strength, how much like weight and how well
And
your
spin.
brushes are going to be doing, and your spin, and there's all these different things that's like you do have to put a lot of mind into it while also using the physicality of knowing exactly how much strength you should be doing in comparison to the distance and what you're aiming for.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, rock skipping.
Oh, please let this be real.
Going with real on this one, or do you
I
just
want
want
to go with real. I want it to be real, so I'm hoping it was real.
It was not, but
No, sad.
this last year, I think it was in September or early October, I was at a restaurant with my girlfriend and her parents, and on TV, I think it was on the Ocho, they had the world rock skipping competition, and the goal was, it was in terms of like number of skips, and they had like high speed cameras to like record how many skips there were, and like these people were getting like 20 to 30 every time they threw it. It's just like insane.
That's nuts. That's so cool.
And the thing is like there didn't seem to be a rule. You could be in the water if you wanted, you could be on the shore if you wanted. It didn't really matter how you did it, because it's like still whatever you need to do to get a number of skips.
So long as they skip, it does not matter how the method. That's really cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it was kind of fascinating to watch, and it's just like, yeah. All right, kite flying.
That does feel like a very old French thing, so I'm gonna say yes.
And you'd be right.
Very cool.
Okay, right now there's 16 questions, and you're at 8 correct now. So
I'm right at the halfway.
if you get at least one of the next 2 right, then you're better than pure random chance. How do you score that? I have no idea, Hasio. I have no idea. I know that there are kite flying competitions where they put razor blades on the kites, and your goal is to cut the string of your competitor's kite.
Okay, that's brutal, but also kind of wild.
But they don't do that in official competitions because apparently it's really dangerous.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially if one of those things goes careening towards the ground. Yeah, because I imagine, like, from just even when I was younger, when there were, like, kite flying competitions and stuff that were slightly less brutal, essentially it was gauged on how steady was your line, and how high you were able to kind of keep it up, and how long you could keep it in the air. Was kind of like how they gauged it.
But again, that's one of those things that feels like it's very much on the whims of nature, like fishing.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, is the wind on your side, and do you happen to have the applicable kite for it?
Yes, precisely. All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, come on now. Huh.
They have an annual competition for this in Vegas.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that happen in Vegas. I'm gonna say it's fake. I can't believe that there would be like Olympian rock paper scissors, because again, this feels way too like luck / like analytics based, if nothing else.
Yep, but you're correct. It's fake.
Okay, good.
But I mean, is it really that much more crazy than cannon shooting?
Well, okay, so like for me, cannon shooting is just shot put with a tool.
I'd say it probably has more to do with the gun shooting things.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, professional gun shooting, professional riflery, things like that is 100% stuff that's shown up in like competitions and stuff in those areas. So,
I mean, one of my favorite Winter Olympics ones is where it's a combination of shooting and cross-country skiing.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. It's nuts.
Is it called the biathlon or something?
Possibly, but I know exactly the one you mean. And yeah, no, it's like, professional shooting and stuff like that is something that shows up in Olympic competitions and like in competitions in general. So, a cannon just is a bigger version of that.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, final question. First aid.
It's an Olympic feat for the first aiders there. Oh gosh, I'm gonna say that's gotta be Oh God, actually,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
real?
Hmm. Real. Okay. Real.
It's real. Okay. Whew.
Yay.
I was trying to think like, all right, what would first aid have been like back like in the 1900s versus the way we know it now?
This
And I'm
person is
like,
sick. Quick, let's apply some leeches and get some cocaine in them.
there's ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine about it.
Yes. I love that meme.
That's so good. But yeah, like I was thinking like, ooh, actually no, it probably would make sense because, you know, quick compressions, binding and carrying somebody, getting somebody on like the actual like the gurney and stuff like that.
Mhm.
All that good stuff. Like I'm like, that's actually very physically focused and that's very time intensive as well. So being able to do it fast, correct, and quickly, like as quickly as you can, like I could see that being an Olympic sport.
Yeah. Well, we are at the end of the quiz, and your score, out of a possible 16, you got 10.
I'll take it.
You'll take it. I mean, hey, not
It's a
bad
passing
for...
grade.
Look, for a quiz that you had no knowledge of beforehand, no ability to study, hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And for someone who doesn't watch the Olympics.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of the Olympics. I feel like the Olympics could be a good thing, but the way we do the Olympics is not good.
I can agree with that.
I think the biggest change that needs
Ow.
Oh,
Ventato flew at me.
there you go. Oh, there you come.
Hit me again.
You got a twofer.
I think the biggest thing they need to do is they just need to pick one city for the summer and one city for the winter and just have them be permanently there so that we're not having the Olympics come into a city like a fucking bulldozer
And completely wreck shop and mess with not only the people and the livelihood of the people around it, but like mess with the No, I can 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Also, it means they're also not completely trampling the flora and whatnot in the area that they're setting it up in, because they have to make such a big swath for the accommodations, for the event itself.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much stuff that's done unethically that it's like, you could do this better.
And you know what? You could still have different countries host, in quotation marks, the ceremonies every year, and then that country is in charge of doing the opening and closing ceremonies and showing off their culture and stuff like that. But, you know, so it's like you could have Spain hosting the Olympics, but it would be still in Athens or something. It's like, I wouldn't mind it being in Greece. I feel like Athens would be a good city to have it permanently. And then if all those structures are permanent, then you could have them be Olympic training facilities for athletes around the world to come and train and practice, you know, every year. There'd be permanent facilities and dormitories for the athletes to stay in. They would actually get use year after year instead of like the Olympic villages that become ghost
where it gets
towns.
pulled up and teared down and like left leaving like decimated places in their path. Like,
So
I agree.
my suggestion is Athens for the Summer Olympics and Stockholm for the Winter Olympics.
Okay. Yeah. No, honestly, I could agree with that.
And that way, permanent structures that get used over and over, and that way it actually is a benefit to the local economy. You know, the people who live and work there can have permanent jobs related to the Olympics rather than something that just comes and goes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
But, you know, it's never going to happen because of money and corruption.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, unfortunately, we're now getting to my least favorite part of the show, where we have to say goodbye. But
so long, farewell.
Elvita said good night, fuck you, to you and you and you. Well, before we head out of here, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, actually. So end of next month, for the last week of August, I will be celebrating my 2 years as a content creator. I will be hosting a full week of streams on my side, where on at least 2 of those streams, I will be starting around like 9 in the morning and probably not stopping till like 10 p.m. Um, I'll be doing them on both the sites that I work off of, but primarily I'll be on Twitch. But yeah, it'll be a big ol' week-long celebration, hanging out with friends, playing some games that I haven't played in a long time, and some stuff that I haven't played at all, and just, enjoying the fact that I've been able to call this the work that I do for the last 2 years.
Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah, go. I mean, you can just click the title of this, and it'll take you to Raina's page. Go to the About page, and all the links to all the stuff are gonna be there. So follow those links. Follow that mouse.
Thank you, thank you.
But yeah, we're gonna call this done, and I hope everybody has a great week. And I don't know when we'll see you again. Might be a few more weeks before we do another episode of Twig's Missing Movies. My co-host is a little busy, and yeah, I'm real busy in August. I'll try and do some streams. I got some things that are planned that may not be guest related. I'm also kind of getting to the point where I'm running out of guests. So if you're a VTuber and you want to come on the show, shoot me a DM. I'm always looking for guests. But yeah, we're gonna read on out of here. So everybody, have yourself a great night and a great end of July, and we'll see you all when we see ya.
Doodles.